I'm so excited to be recording this. You have no idea. So now that your class is done, how can you market yourself better? Students displayed a keen interest on applicability of the knowledge gained in consumer behavior class in the real world. And this presentation highlights how the knowledge sought in class can help in interviews, can help craft resumes, can help write cover letters, and you can use this to market yourself better. So let's get right into it. First and foremost, it is important to understand and appreciate what you've learned in class. Let's first appreciate this framework that you see. This video packs in a lot of information. So this may be a good time to pause and grab a pen and paper to take notes on things that stand out to you. Go ahead and pause if need be. So let's start. With that said, okay. You learned about consumer motivation and the process behind it. You've understood what the difference is between ideal and realized state, how this creates tension that leads to motivation to take an action to resolve that unfulfilled need. You know the importance of personality here, perception, attitude on this process. On perception and attitude front, you've learned the importance of learning and the value of memory. You learned about how consumers' perception is built, but also how this is measured and how one can influence perception. On that last bit, you've gone deeper into the power of sensory marketing, bringing together the importance of smell and sonic marketing, but also the importance of visual stimuli with colors, the power of touch and taste. You've learned about how consumers learn, and you've read a lot about behavioral learning theories. You have the basic idea of the importance of consumer personality and the brand fit. You've also learned about consumer attitudes and focused heavily in class with the elaboration likelihood model and the central versus peripheral route to persuasion. You completed this section with understanding of the factors that influence motivation, but also ability to process information. You have a basic idea of conducting primary research, in particular conducting interviews using the laddering technique, right? So going from attributes listed to consequences to eventually assessing consumer values. You practice this, albeit briefly, in class, and some of you are using this for primary research in your group project. Speaking of your own projects, please remember one of the key elements in showcasing your skill set that you've gained would be to showcase you've been able to showcase your marketing interests with a here's something cool presentation in class. This has enabled you to not only research and present on current marketing strategies, but has also been instrumental in providing you with opportunities to lead class discussions. Speaking of assignments and requirements, with a class assignment, you were also able to analyze using the concepts learned about different Super Bowl 2023 ads as well. The next major section of the class involved understanding how consumers make decisions. To this end, you learn the 5 steps over there of the consumer decision-making process, but also its importance. You've assessed how this changes based on repurchase, but also how this changes based on loyalty. You also have an idea now on how consumers deviate from this rational decision making because of simple decision making shortcuts, or what we call heuristics. You've been provided with examples on how this could lead to cognitive bias. In particular, you've learned about framing effects, anchoring bias, loss aversion, decoy effect, endowment effect, and so on and so forth. One of the key points of discussion during one of these sessions was understanding the reason behind bad behavior paradox, right? So most people know that they're indulging in bad behavior and that it is bad for them, but why do they still do it? Concepts introduced here included, but are not limited to, timing inconsistency, hyperbolic discounting, invisible progress and vague goals, social pressure, over-optimism, and etc. You were able to apply everything you learned into the stick case study, the commitment contract company or firm. While answering this question, you also were able to use ChatGPT to assess and formulate better responses. And if you're addressing, as if you're addressing the founders of Stick, right? And you didn't just do this with a paper, you wrote an actual letter, a business brief. Your next big section was learning about how consumers influence each other. In this front, you learned about social identity. And my proudest moment, using a simple 2-minute money allocation game, you were able to witness the importance of social identity and group constructs. You went deeper here, learning about reference groups, opinion leaders, influencers. You learned the importance of user-generated content, when they work, when they might not work. Our conversation on this section slightly shifted from influence to the concept of cool. From learning about Raymond Loewy's Maya method to understanding the importance of autonomy, attitude, authenticity, and association in creating cool products, you would not only learn but also applied. You're able to use the theory portion to create cool products out of two very hard to distinguish and differentiate products, right? These were water bottle and plain white t-shirts. You were able to pitch your products as well. You witnessed others' creative ideas here in this case as well. One of the major takeaways you've also had has been a crash course on the theory, but then also an applied practical component of survey design. Many of you are creating survey questions to gather primary research data, which you will learn how to not only collect, but also analyze the data and present your findings to. On the topic of influencing consumers, you've also been able to learn about the different communication types, message framings, different advertising appeals, the issue and resolution of selective exposure. You also have an idea of how consumer moods, reference groups, store environment affect consumer decision-making process, and how brands can capitalize on this for their own benefit. In terms of examples, you're able to witness key differentiating strategies from IKEA, Costco, Trader Joe's, movie theaters like AMC, Regal, and Starbucks. And to prep you for the second case study, you will also provide additional information on mental accounting, hyperbolic discounting, endowment effect, and the impact of satisficing decisions. These and other heuristic biases, using those, you're able to create strategy for Walmart. You didn't just write a paper on this, but you created a time constraint, a strict time constraint pitch for your set ideas. Finally, you've been able to learn about the importance of nudge and choice architecture and have an understanding on how defaults are used, both mass defaults and personalized defaults, in influencing consumers. Beyond all of this, whatever you've seen on the screen, whatever I've said, beyond all of this, you're working in teams for your group project, researching a potential real-life marketing opportunity, analyzing consumer responses to it, and you're crafting strategic recommendations to capitalize on that marketing opportunity. Okay, so finally, the application part. Let's go through this, albeit this is a smaller chunk because this is more application. Here's where you can share your experience and knowledge with an interviewer or in a resume or in a cover letter or in a conversation. Please keep in mind though, everything that we've touched up until this point, because now you're applying those, right? So whether it be interview or it be crafting a resume, highlight your relevant coursework. Seeing the fit with the company and the position you're applying for, highlight what you've learned. But don't say I learned this in class, because you didn't just learn it. You've been able to apply this too, through assignments, through case responses, through presentations. Talk about this. Discuss marketing research. albeit small. Understand that the ability to use Qualtrics, the knowledge of Prolific or MTurk, which you will get soon, ability to conduct interviews, ability to run primary research, ability to collect and analyze data, but also present findings, that's very sought after. Highlight this in your skills section. The Qualtrics bit, straight up, one of the key technologies that you're able to use, right? Research and remember some key examples. Number 3, right? Research and remember some key examples. Oftentimes, you can just wow the interviewer with some of the biases or nudge strategies that you've learned. This can set you apart. Remember them, research them, remember them. My favorite go-to is oftentimes talking about the decoy effect or the pennies a day effect as well, right? The temporal discounting part. Remember your group work. Ability to work in teams is well sought after. You have had a semester-long experience with this. Mention it. Remember the struggles too and how you overcame it. This may be responding to a key question, right? So people are normally asked, tell me about a time you've been working in a team and faced some struggle. This could be one of your examples. Number 5, remember you work with ChatGPT and AI. In the current industry climate, this will be very sought after. But also remember, it is not just about the awesomeness of AI, but also about what kind of prompt is used and how you can use it as a starting point. But also some critiques. You realize that this could make creativity much narrower. Next, let's talk LinkedIn strategies. You have so much content. You have ability to research more content based on consumer behavior now. You may choose to start creating your own personal brand in the sphere with some simple content creation. Outside of that, update your interest, follow relevant groups, network with individuals in this field, and follow up on latest trends. You may be worried about the content creation. You may be worried that your post is seen as less than optimal or that it may garner no views or engagement. I understand this is a big fear in the content creation space, especially for our students. But remember that a well-researched, easy to digest take is appreciated regardless of who it comes from. And also in terms of no views, well, no post equals no views anyways, right? But the content creation part can really, really help you give more visibility. So, with all of that said, thank you for listening. I've tried to give you an idea of what has been covered so that you're able to use that to your advantage. I gave you 6 different strategies on how you can directly use it. But seeing all these applications, given the type of job you're applying to or the type of industry you're going for, there may be more. Thanks for listening. I hope this helped.